Imagine you are standing at the edge of a cliff. The sea is on your left. A mountain wall is on your right. The path in front of you is barely wide enough to fit a few men standing shoulder to shoulder. And coming toward you is the largest army the ancient world had ever seen. This is not a movie. This is not a myth. This is August 4th, 480 BC. And you are at a place called Thermopylae, which in ancient Greek literally means the hot gates. Let's go back 10 years. The Achaemenid Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great and expanded by Darius I, had already absorbed much of the eastern Mediterranean world by the early 5th century BC. In 490 BC, the Persian Emperor Darius I sent an army across the Aegean Sea to punish the Greek city-states, specifically Athens, for supporting a rebellion against Persian rule. That invasion ended in one of history's great upsets. The Persian force was defeated at the Battle of Marathon. Darius died before he could try again, but his son had a long memory. Xerxes I ascended the throne in 486 BC and immediately resumed preparations for a new campaign against the Greeks. And this time, he wasn't sending an army, he was sending a civilization. Xerxes made massive preparations for invasion. Depots of equipment and supplies were laid. A canal was dug at Chalkidiki, and boat bridges were built across the Hellespont to facilitate the movement of troops. Xerxes led a vast army overland from the Dardanelles, accompanied by a substantial fleet moving along the coast. His forces quickly seized northern Greece and began moving south. Now, here is the number debate your viewers may have heard about. The ancient historian Herodotus, our primary source, claimed over 2 million Persian soldiers. Modern scholars reject that figure. More conservative modern estimates place the Persian army between 100,000 and 250,000. Still, the largest military force the Greeks had ever faced. Before the invasion, Xerxes sent a message to the Spartan king, "Surrender your weapons." Leonidas famously replied, "Come and take them." In Greek, molon labe, 2 words. That became one of the most defiant phrases in military history. The Greeks weren't suicidal, they were strategic. A joint army of between 6,000 and 7,000 men was sent to defend the pass at Thermopylae, through which the Persians must enter mainland Greece. The narrowest point of the pass, where the battle was probably fought, would have been less than 100 meters wide. Think about that, 100 meters. At that choke point, Xerxes' hundreds of thousands of men were completely useless. He could only send a few rows of soldiers at a time, and the Greeks were waiting. Now, who exactly were those Greeks? Not just 300 Spartans, as Hollywood tells you. The Greek force of approximately 7,000 included 300 Spartans, 500 warriors from Tegea, 500 from Mantinea, 700 Thespians, 400 Thebans, 1,000 Phocians, and others from across Greece. The 300 Spartans were real, but they did not stand alone. Day 1. On the first day, the Persians advanced against the Greeks, but were quickly pushed back. The Persian army suffered heavy casualties, primarily due to the differences between the infantry types. Greek hoplites were heavy infantry, armed with long spears and heavy shields, while the Persians were light infantry, armed with short spears and wicker shields. The narrow pass turned the Persian numbers into a disadvantage. Day 2. Xerxes became impatient and ordered his troops to attack again. The Persians were again unable to break through the Greek defenses. Even Xerxes' elite personal guard, the Immortals, a permanent 10,000-strong royal force, were thrown at the pass and repelled. Xerxes reportedly watched the battle from his throne on a nearby hill and stood up 3 times in horror at the losses his army was taking. Day 3. Betrayal. This is where history turns dark. On the 3rd day, a Greek traitor named Ephialtes revealed a secret mountain path to the Persians, allowing them to encircle the Greek forces. A local man, a Greek, he showed the Persians the hidden trail called the Oenopeia Path, a route that wound behind the Greek position. When Leonidas learned at dawn that Persian forces were descending the mountain behind him, he faced an impossible choice.
King Leonidas, the enemy is behind us. They flank from the pass. They move to encircle. We are betrayed.
In a moment of bravery and sacrifice, Leonidas chose to remain with a small contingent of his soldiers to fight to the death, while the majority of the Greek army retreated to safety. Who stayed with him? The 300 Spartans, 700 Thespians, who stayed voluntarily, and 400 Thebans, whom the Greeks forcibly held. The Thespians are the unsung heroes of Thermopylae. They chose death, freely, without the same legendary reputation, because it was the right thing to do. Leonidas and his men were eventually surrounded and killed to the last man. After the fall of Thermopylae, the road to Greece was open. Athens was sacked. But the delay mattered enormously. The Greek fleet defeated the invading Persian armada at the Battle of Salamis in late 480 BC. Wary of being trapped in Europe, Xerxes withdrew with much of his army to Asia. And the following year, the Greeks fielded the largest hoplite army ever seen and defeated the remaining Persian forces at the Battle of Plataea in August 479 BC, finally ending Xerxes' ambitions in Greece. Thermopylae was a military defeat, but it saved Greece, and by extension, the democracy, philosophy, and art that would eventually shape the entire Western world. 5 lessons from the Battle of Thermopylae. Lesson 1. Terrain is power. A smaller force can defeat a larger one if they choose where to fight wisely. Leonidas didn't pick a battlefield, he picked a choke point. Your weaknesses don't disappear, but smart strategy can neutralize the other side's strengths. Lesson 2. Unity among rivals is possible. The Greek city-states constantly fought each other. Athens and Sparta were bitter rivals, but when the existential threat arrived, they stood together. Disagreement is human. Cooperation under pressure is leadership. Lesson 3. A tactical defeat can be a strategic victory. Thermopylae was lost, but it bought time. Time for Salamis, time for Plataea, time for Greece to survive. Sometimes the goal is not to win the battle. The goal is to not lose the war. Lesson 4. Betrayal from within is often more dangerous than enemies outside. Xerxes could not break through the pass in 2 days of full assault, but one man with local knowledge destroyed what an empire could not. Guard your inner circle as fiercely as your front lines. Lesson 5. How you die can define how others choose to live. Leonidas and the 300 knew they were going to die. They chose to die in formation, facing forward. That image of chosen sacrifice for something larger than yourself inspired Greeks to fight harder at Salamis. The epitaph on the monument at Thermopylae, written by the poet Simonides, says it plainly: Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here we lie, having answered our common oaths. No drama, no self-pity, just duty. History doesn't remember the people who ran when it got hard. It remembers the ones who held the pass. You don't need 300 soldiers. You need one decision. The decision to stand your ground when everything is telling you to retreat. Whatever your Thermopylae is today, that impossible deadline, that uphill fight, that moment where the numbers are against you, remember this: the hot gates were held, not because they had more men, but because they refused to move. Now, go hold your pass. If this story lit something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more history that actually means something, you know where to find me. Molon Labe. Come and take it.